Yeah, we begin.
Hello everyone, my name is Jang Yu-nam. My major is electronical and electronics engineering. I will talk about glacier. Look at this picture that includes glacier in Antarctica. Penguins are on glacier, but this glacier is too small. What happened to them? Recently, glacier is melting fastly. This picture shows change of Arctic's glacier. A lot of glacier already melted. This problem makes many negative effects. Especially melting of glacier makes rising sea level. This is a graph of a recent sea level rise. During 100 years, sea level is rising 20 centimeters, and increasing rate of sea level is increased more and more. These pictures present the fact that our island is sunk by melting of glacier. This island is Tuvalu, which is located in New Zealand. And then, why this phenomenon occurs? First, ozone layer destruction is one of reason of melting of glacier. You can see that ozone is decreased at polar regions through this picture. Greenhouse effect is another reason of melting of glacier. You can see that ozone greenhouse effect is another reason. Increasing of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide is a principal factor of greenhouse effect. Excessive logging and exhaust of factories make greenhouse gas. It is pictures of greenhouse effect. If this phenomenon is continue, all glacier will be melted and we can live in Earth. We may be the main character of the day after tomorrow. Thank you for your listening.
Yes. Hi, my name is Cha-Seung Koo. I major in architecture. The topic of my presentation is about global CO2 emissions. Nowadays, people worry about many environment problems like climate change, global warming, rising sea levels, and so on. But these problems are closely related to rapidly increasing global CO2 emissions. So, in this presentation, I will talk about what the main cause of global CO2 emissions is and what could be the solution. First, we need to know CO2 emission by region. Look at this graph. This graph shows annual CO2 emission by region during 19th, 20th century. In this graph, you can see that the amount of CO2 emitted from United States and Canada is highest by 2000. It seems to be sure that United States and Canada are the main culprits of global CO2 emissions. But I found the other interesting information in this graph. Earthern Europe and former Soviet states in Russia and neighboring countries emitted CO2 of almost the same amounts with United States and Canada in 1970s. But Eastern Europe and former Soviet states reduced CO2 emission to under a half amount of United States and Canada by 2000. How could they do that? Europe have tried to switch resource generating electricity from fossil fuels to renewable resource, including wind, solar, geothermal, hydro, and so on. Look at this chart. This chart compares the amounts of CO2 come from many kinds of resources in gram per kilowatt hours. Using renewables, we can generate same amounts of electricity with much less CO2. Europe Union chose these renewables for the solution of decreased CO2 emission, and they firmly have the result of their choice. Now, EU has the plan for the 100% renewables energy by 2050. This is the roadmap of EU Energy Network in 2050. While Europe make a concrete plan for CO2 emission decrease, United States and other countries withdrew from Kyoto Protocol and are emitting CO2 more than ever in history. Because the global CO2 emission is not the problem of one country, but the whole world. At this time, more efforts are necessary in a global level, especially in United States and Canada. So that's my presentation for today. Thank you for listening.
My name is Chang Hee and my major is material science and engineering. I will talk about climate change and what we can do for. Presentation will be in following orders. There are two major symptoms of climate change. First, temperature increasing. Among the gases that cause temperature increasing, greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrogen monoxide especially have been increased with the usage of fossil fuel and destruction of Mother Nature. This increase in greenhouse gases has been accelerated so that the increasing rate hit the highest level in the recent 20,000 years. And this data is the average temperature of the Earth from 1880 to 2009 from NASA. And sea level rise. The average sea level has been increased by 1.8 millimeters every year from 1961 to 1993. This is because of the fact that glaciers all over the world has been decreased because of climate change, rainfall patterns and changing, and in most cases rainfall happens in the form of heavy rain. This is the graph of post-glacial sea level rise. Sea level rose about 130 meters during 23,000 years. And causes of climate change. We can classify into two causes, natural and anthropogenic. Natural cause climate change results not only from external change but the change in components of climate system and interaction among the components. The increase in aerosol in stratosphere caused from volcano explosion, change in the sun activity, and the relative astronomical position change of the sun and the earth. Anthropogenic causes. It was since the mid-18th century, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, that human activities began to massively affect the global climate. The activities like the usage of fossil fuels in factories and houses produce greenhouse gases and aerosols that affect the air components. This results in the increase in the greenhouse gases and reflection of solar radiant energy and optical change of cloud, and countermeasures against the climate change. There are many ways to prohibit the climate change. First, sustainable consumption pattern. It is better to use products that produce less pollution, for example, products with higher energy efficiency or less waste. The second, saving energy and resources. We should save cooling and heating energy at home and in office, and save water. And the third, recycling of energy, or recycling of waste. Methane is commonly produced during the process of waste reclamation. Since it is obvious that recycling reduces the waste, the amount of methane gets reduced if people recycle. And also recycling papers saves forests and slows down the reduction so that it helps the reduction of greenhouse gases. And planting trees. Trees are a perfect example of carbon dioxide consumer. For example, Northern European countries have so many trees and forests so that they do not have severe problems caused from greenhouse gases. But the most easy and important thing is reducing carbon dioxide in daily life. First, maintaining a reasonable room temperature. Less heating by 1 degree Celsius in every house reduce 231 kilograms of carbon dioxide annually. Public transportation rather than personal vehicles. Use the public transportation, or if your destination is not that far, you can always walk or ride on a bicycle. And third, reducing your shower time by 1 minute results in the annual decrease of carbon dioxide by 7 kilograms. And for use cup rather than paper or disposable cups. And last, you are saving 1 month electricity bill if you have